So there you go. Anti-Semitic is not anti-Semitic at all. Is in fact Jew savvy, right? So shout out to the home guys. Hey, what's up, home guys? And coming from GDLE Europe here, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Shetar, probably a lot, but anyway. So the Jewish Shetar is something that I've noticed in the GDL that no one really has picked up on, so I'm just putting it out there that there is such a concept as the Jewish Shetar, and there's a document called How the Jewish Law Became English Law. Now, the reason why this has got connotations across the pond in America and everywhere, for example, in internationalism now, post-World War II, with the Vatican, and with every government being, well, with possible exceptions of Yemen and North Korea. I would say Iran is not in that bracket, Syria maybe, but definitely, the majority of the 292 countries or whatever, they are definitely bought into the Jew system, and none more so currently than China, America, Britain, Germany, Russia, and Canada. It's all networked through Israel, which just happens to be right plonk in the centre of the three continents, Africa, Asia, and Europe, So that's a great position for them. So they run Panama, Ecuador, everywhere, So the thing is, what are the connotations of Shetar? Well, the Shetar is the concept of the documentation that Jews have in order to draft their possession orders. How the court system is all phony and is ran under the kosher nostra. So that is all about how to criminally or civilly get possession from people who, actually the house, the business, whatever, when the business goes bankrupt or liquidated or, wound up, or however the Shetar allows it to be taken over. Because one thing that Patrick Little doesn't really talk about, which I feel that he should, is that when he talks about Harvard being the place where, is top heavy in Jewish professors and top heavy in Jewish students now, even though their SAT scores don't reflect, their legitimacy for getting into the Ivy League schools, but Harvard specifically Harvard, more than anywhere else, is the only place that supplies, or was the only place that supplies, Wall Street for its brokers. Now, I think Yale has had a bit of an input since after the crash, because Yale being the art school rather than, or literary arts at least, more so than Harvard being the business school, they came up with their own program, which you can follow on YouTube, and they're definitely, along the same pace as Harvard. But Harvard specifically, top heavy in Jews, Wall Street top heavy in Jews. So what is it actually that's going on with the documentation? Well, much of any business or anybody, for example, everyone has the social security number, the national insurance, the national social security. So everything is undermined by who's brokering the insurance deals. So you've got things like, public liability insurance that every business is required to have to operate in business in the public, whether it be private companies or whatever. Even in Hollywood, there's entertainment insurances, to make sure that, the things don't cause riots or stuff. Even during the filmmaking, all of these processes need insurance of some kind, And it's this insurance deal that helps to carry the liabilities of the people who are being insured. So, for example, if you want to set up a company and you require insurance, well, you already actually have insurance to do everything that you want, your national insurance. And the reason how this is proven is that it exists, you actually have it. Now, no one's negotiated any particular deal with the Social Security people, and they're not exactly going to come forward and negotiate the deal for you. So they subjugate your position in the in the public as being your representative. And with the national insurance, Social Security, this is something that governments do. They're acting as brokers, and like if you crash a car, or if you want to make a claim on house insurance or any insurance deal, you will have to phone the insurance company, and their insurance company will speak to the other insurance company, who are going to then broker the deal as to what reimbursements that you get for compensation for any hit on the insurance that they're now going to take, because they're carrying your insurance. So it's of paramount importance, because this is the overarching hierarchy that gives Wall Street and the City of London, Bank of England, Federal Reserve, the means now to press the little pin into the voodoo doll that they hold with your name on it. so you come in asking for such and such a thing, and obviously when you make a claim on the insurance, if it's going to be any sizable claim, they'll run it through the mangle, and they'll do everything in their power not to pay you. And this can lead also into bankruptcy cases, where we know that bankruptcy cases, bankruptcies have been on the increase. And what's happening is that when it goes into the courts, the Shetar, the people running the Shetar, the barristers, the lawyers, the judges, the whole phony kosher nostra within the civil jurisdiction, they're now going to divvy up all the returns on investment made on insurances. Now, I used to pay into an insurance scheme, but I used to always collapse it and get the money back, and there'd always be a little bit of interest. Now, what people are not doing, and they should be doing, is they should be claiming back their investment. Because when you buy into such things, especially with pension schemes, because you've got to remember that pension schemes, what pension schemes have done, the American pension schemes, is they've invested in with all of the pooling accounts and hedge funds, and all of these cockamamie financial deals that get done on Wall Street, City of London. They've now sprung up. China being one example, India sprung up after China, Russia is sort of levied on that. You've got this gas pipe that runs through the Ukraine. Well, who's insuring that deal? Well, it's not me, it's not you. I know in the City of London, in Lloyd's Brokering House, if you want to be a broker in there, you've got to divvy up £250,000. I think that's about 400,000 US dollars. That's just to get in, So whether you're going to be able to actually drum up any business, because it's such a closed shop, they'll soon hound you out off the floor, and you'll get nothing. And this is one of the things that the new immigrant people who are being allowed to come in, they're now being polished up to act as brokers. And there was a guy in England, he's Ghanaian, came here when he was 4, I think, and he's claiming he's English, and yet the English can't even be English. So he's saying that, and he just finished 3 years because he lost so many billion for some company anyway. So it was all fraud and everything like that. And this is what's going on, because there's no actual contract. And this is what the Shetar is. The Shetar is the documentation. So with all of your public utility services, whether it be transport services, whether it be police, whether it be ambulance, whether it be utilities such as electric, gas, these type of things, even in the gas station, the petrol, all of these things, everything's insured, everything. So everything that you're paying into, say you get a bus ticket to travel, then what you're actually doing is you're buying an investment contract to become the end user, as they now term it, at least in England, it's called the end user, and you're now carrying all the liabilities for the payments. So there was an advisor to Bill Clinton who retired at the end of Bill Clinton's terms, and they asked, he was asked by a reporter, would he like to live that life again? And he said no, he'd like to be the insurance market because they get to intimidate everyone. So America saw a lot of repossessions and Britain did too, and I know in Europe it's been pretty much the same. Well, it's always going to be the same because this is the globalist, internationalist Jewish Shetar in action. They're the ones who are, all of the lawyers are all in-house, all of the courts are in-house. Go read the document, the history of Jewish law in the English courts. Oh, yeah. So that's by Lord Dewberger, Lord Neuberger, who retired as the Supreme Chief Justice of the Supreme Courts of the Supreme UK. And, he thinks he's got some supreme things going on, as all Jewish supremacists do, which is all Jews. So, he wrote a document which is actually a transcript from a speech that he gave about the Jewish history within the English Supreme Court. It will be on the Supreme Court site for the UK, and then or UK, and then if you look up any Lord Neuberger speeches, you will unravel all sorts from the inside that they, all the secrets that they let out, how word play is their monopoly, and that's how they always win. He's actually putting it out there before he retired. So the Shetar is the name of a concept, and actually the English translation from the Yiddish, because Shetar is a Yiddish word, the English translation means star, and if you look up the star chamber, you'll kind of get an idea of where that's going, and that's why Jews had to wear the star, the Shetar, because that would denominate, who they are within the Christian world as it was. And obviously, post World War II, the Jews have done everything to kibosh the spiritual underpinnings of the white countries, Europe, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. South Africa it's full of Jews, they're running havoc down there. Everyone's blaming the Africans, and it's the same case with the Muslims in America and Europe, or the States, or with all of these buffering subjects who come in, all of the invaders, they're all buffer zones for the Jew to pull all the strings, as the puppet masters. Henry Kissinger's always running around. If you watch the documentary with Richard Nixon, he says he had to run after Kissinger and lost Kissinger in Beijing when Kissinger was brokering whatever deals for the nuclear arms that China was getting. So Jonathan Pollard, the spy, took the flak for what he done, but actually Kissinger hasn't took any flak, and he's the main broker of all the deals that gets on. He's forever in Putin's office, he's forever around at Trump's house. There's pictures of Tony Blair sitting next to him with the little small hat on at the Shimon, was it the Sharon? It was either Shimon Peres or someone Sharon funeral in Israel. And Boris Johnson, there's a picture of him with Lord Rothschild at one of the Rothschild's 47 mansions. I was just doing some research last night, and there's secret Singapore Jews. Well, Singapore was only set up in about 1959, I think it was, and yet there's secret billionaire Jews in Singapore, and it names Sassoon family, who was running the opium trades, which caused the opium wars, where countless people died over 3 different opium wars. The article I was reading saying about these Singapore Jews was explaining how the Sassoon family is the Rothschilds of the East. Rothschilds are the West and Sassoons are the East. So, these poor Jews who, God knows what they were being fed in Birkenau and Auschwitz and all of these Kochemeni death camps that only the USSR was allowed to handle after the war. If you look at the how everything was cut up, for the partitioning, which eventually became like the Cold War scenario, it was USSR who only allowed into the camps. So my argument, because I've done a lot of research on this, is that like Hungarian Jews, Czech Jews, Polish Jews, there was Jews from where's the other places, Greece, Italy. There's secret Greek Jews now as well. There's an article on that out there, secret Greek Jews. These people are always secret. There's the secret Kaifang Jews. There's the secret Domus Conversorum. When the Jews were supposed to be expelled from England, they actually weren't. It was they were conversos. There was the secret conversos of the Spanish Inquisition. They were all supposed to have left and went to places like Britain, the Ottoman Empire, Lithuania, and they actually, the Grand Inquisitor of the Spanish Inquisition was a Jew, a converso Jew, and there's just, they just changed the skin and, take on that chameleon type thing that they love, and now they hold all the authority, which they kind of always have held in their own criminal way, as we would see it. Certainly they don't see it because they're without conscience. The equivalent of Jewish conscience is called matzpan or matzpah, which isn't really a thing in Judaism. It's like it's a new thing that sort of doesn't even like the Jewish religion per se. Go read the article on the atheist Jew, the Jew who became atheist, thinking that it was a big deal, and then he found out that over 60-70% of all of Israel are actually atheists. Judaism is not primarily a religion; it's an ethnic group. It's a diverse race of mongrelized peoples who DNA trade. That's how they sort of do stuff. If they need positioning, then go read the Book of Esther or do a little YouTube around the Book of Esther, where the Persian Prime Minister was executed by the king on behalf of the Jews because the Jews were feeling the pinch. And this is exactly what we're seeing in UK now with the Labour Party. They're all crying misery and pogroms and all this type of usual chicanery and malarkey in order to get the laws changed. Well, how disgusting do you have to be where you have to change the laws so that people aren't talking about you? You know, the rabbis, the spiritual leaders, drink the blood of an 8-day-old baby from the penis after slicing it. You know, these are barbaric practices. That's just ritualistic. It's not medical. It's not medically sound even. You know, there's been babies dying from herpes and such from this antiquated Babylonian Talmudic practice. So yeah, ban ritual circumcision, and ban the shetar, ban it. It's not even a thing that is in the periphery of you know, even the GDL. I've noticed I've been putting it in the comments on another channel, but yeah, it's something that people need to wake up to fast, because this is how they're aggressively taking over whatever modicum or whatever crumbs that are left, you know, in what people perceive as ownership of their own property. Then, you know, all bets are off when it comes to the shetar. So, you know, there's like the Adirondacks conspiracy. Judson Witham talks about that. I've spoke a little bit about that before. He did name the Jew one time, and he was bang on point, and then he sort of retracted after some Jew got in his ear. But he wrote a lot on what the Clintons, the Bushes, you know, what they've all been up to. And those who are Jew savvy, and not anti-Semitic, but Jew savvy, you can sort of, you can see the endless, bottomless pit of corruption, crime, white-collar crime, you know, criminal equity, or there is a, like in the jurisdictions in the civil law, you have like probate, family, chancery, administrative, and there's another one. Admiralty. So those 5 jurisdictions, equity being one in chancery. There's a criminal side to equity, the likes of the RICO Act, white collar crime. You know, these things are in a different jurisdiction that most people would be savvy with. So, you know, get Jew savvy, understand that the court system has been completely hijacked through what Lord Neuberger says, you know, manipulation of words. Anyway, I think that covers most of what I want to say, and there you go. So just a few tidbits to sort of like steer the movement on a little bit, and good luck with everything GDL from GDL Europe.